Hey everyone, today I'll be bringing you a One Piece discussion slash theory video about why Haki isn't visible pre-time skip. A lot of One Piece fans want to know why armament Haki, otherwise known as colors of arms, isn't visible pre-time skip, even though there are plenty of examples of people using it, like when Garp is first introduced and he punches Luffy, or when Luffy fights the Boa sisters on the Island of Women, or when Rayleigh stopped Kizaru on Sabaody Archipelago, and even when Whitebeard punches Akainu during Marineford. And because of this questions, fans have come up with a number of possible reasons, like Oda just not coming up with the concept at the time, and some people also believe that the black hardening was added after so that manga readers could discern when Haki was being used. Because if it wasn't drawn black, it would just look like a regular punch unless something was added to it. There's also a belief that it's just an advanced technique that Oda didn't want to show yet, and some people go as far as saying because Luffy couldn't see or use Armament Haki with control pre-time skip, we as fans couldn't see it either, which makes no sense to me. So I'm gonna actually give you a plausible reason that makes sense and explain the root of the other theories that have circulated. Although it's worth mentioning that there isn't a definite answer from Oda or Shueisha, or in Shonen Jump, or in any of the data books, but it may be explained later. Before I actually start talking about it, I want to say that I'll be calling it both Colors of Arms, which is what it's called in the Viz manga, and Armament Haki, which is what it's called in the Funimation dub, and it's also called Koka in the Funimation sub. So when Colors of Arms is first introduced by Rayleigh, he refers to it as an invisible coating, so that just seems to be the base form of Colors of Arms, that it's invisible. And this supports the theory that Armament Haki is just an advanced version, based on what we've seen from Rayleigh. There are lots of examples of this being used, and in different ways too, because we've seen Sentomaro and the Admirals use it. We saw, and not to mention Rayleigh and the Boa sisters use it as well. We saw Sentomaro use it on Sabaody Archipelago. We saw the three Navy Marine Admirals use it to block Whitebeard's attack during Marineford, and we saw the Boa sisters block Luffy's attack using it too. So there are a lot of examples pre-time skip of this form of Haki being used. So now let's talk about some possible theories. One theory states that the black Haki that we see after time skip is an advanced application called Koka, also known as hardening. While it hasn't been confirmed, it's implied that this attack is stronger than the invisible Haki, but depends entirely on the user. Which is why Rayleigh taught it to him at first, but then he left Luffy alone to finish his training by himself. Koka can also translate into vulcanization, which is the process of rubber being converted into a denser material. And as we all know, Luffy is made of rubber, but everyone else using Armament Haki isn't. So unless you can apply vulcanization to regular skin, this doesn't actually work. Some people also think the reason we didn't see Colors of Arms before time skip like in Marineford was because Luffy couldn't see it himself, therefore the audience couldn't see it. And this theory can easily be disproven because we've seen Luffy use the invisible Haki after time skip, so it doesn't really fit. Some examples of him using the invisible Haki post time skip are when he punched the pacifista when he returned to Sabaody Archipelago, and it's stated by Sentomaro that he learned Haki, so he was definitely using Haki when he punched the pacifista. There's also the time when he grabbed Caesar back on Punk Hazard, not to mention he was able to grab Smoker's body while Tashigi was inside it during Punk Hazard. There's also Garp when he punched Luffy pre-time skip. And during the flashback, we see Garp just holding Luffy by his cheek, and Luffy wasn't stretching at all. And if this was the same as the Colors of Arms that we see the Black Haki post-time skip, Luffy would have been in a lot more pain. I say this because this shows us that there is a weak and a strong version of the Colors of Arms. But even knowing that, there's still one major question about the Colors of Arms introduced post-time skip, and that is if this version is much more powerful than the standard Armament Haki pre-time skip, why wasn't it used during Marineford? We know the admirals used Haki to block Whitebeard's attack during Marineford, and Marco and Vista used Haki to hold off Kizaru, but why was there no coating on the Armament Haki? Even though if there was a time to use the stronger version of the Haki, it would have been at Marineford. So the answer to this is possibly a combination of the theories I've already mentioned, because they would all fit in one way or another. So the first theory I want to talk about is that the Luffy couldn't see it would be understandable, but his crew members have seen him use Haki in chapter 605. Although they make no comment about it, I'm pretty sure they can see Luffy use the Haki. And all of them can't use Haki at the time, like Nami, Robin, and Usopp can't use, and not to mention Chopper and Frankie, can't use Armament Haki at that point. So, and they're still able to see Luffy use the Haki. So that kind of disproves that theory. And then the Coca vulcanization theory doesn't apply unless skin can be considered under vulcanization. And even if it was considered, Luffy would then notice the change in their skin if it became denser. So that theory no longer works, which leaves us with a couple of other theories. The first one being that Oda did this so that we could tell the difference post time skip, and the second theory being that he came up with the idea later. And I don't think Oda would change something just so that we could tell the difference. It makes more sense to say that he came up with the concept later. It could also be that this is an advanced form of Haki, but then it doesn't make sense to why he didn't show it during Marineford, because Whitebeard and the Admirals would definitely know this form of Haki. But ultimately, it seems as though we've only been introduced to the basic principles of Haki pre-time skip. And if we look at the definition for this version of the colors of arms, is that it's an invisible coating of the user's spirit, but there's an even more advanced version called armament hardening, which is a heavy concentration of Haki that turns things black. So the hardening is a denser form of armament, and when it comes to Marineford, we could say that Oda just didn't come up with the concept at the time. It's also worth noting that we haven't seen the black Haki in a single flashback, which could mean something. I personally believe that Oda didn't come up with the concept at the time, which makes the most sense, to me at least. But let me know what you think and what your theories are as to why we didn't see the colors of arms pre-time skip. Thanks for watching. If you made it to the end, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. If you enjoyed, I'll be making more One Piece theory videos in the future. Thanks for watching, and bye.